तपोभिक्षीण पापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्ष्योऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते. Yesterday in Atmabodha, Acharya Adi Shankara was very clear. The true knowledge is the antidote for ignorance. Only the knowledge can remove the ignorance, not any amount of karma or any amount of any other sadhana. So all those karma yoga, bhakti yoga, everything may help to purify the mind and to get that single pointed attention of the mind. But one has to come back to the proper discrimination and detachment, and one should gain this knowledge. Then only the ignorance is removed and one is liberated. So he was talking about jnana abhyasa. See, we are having this dirt of tamas and rajas. What is tamas? We do not know ourselves. Instead, rajas means what? We see so many wonderful things, body, mind, etc., and whatever is perceived through that. So, what is jnana abhyasa? Jnana abhyasa is I am not the body, mind, but I am that Brahma Tattvam. Like that we have to contemplate continuously. So, this thought, I am Brahman, may remove the ajnana that I am the body, and both of them will go. Meaning what? When you put the kataka nut to purify the water, the kataka nut purifies the water by settling the dirt, and it also settles down. Like that. So jnana abhyasa is very important. Abhyasa means practice. Jnana abhyasa, how you practice knowledge. Now the ignorance is I am the body, I am the mind, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. See, this is the ignorance. But what is the practice of knowledge? I am not the body, but I am that Brahma Tattvam. I am not the doer or enjoyer. I am just that Atma Tattvam. In my presence, everything is happening. I am not the doer or enjoyer. So this abhyasa, this practice of this knowledge has to be taken up to destroy the ignorance that I am the body. So this is Vedanta sadhana, right? There are different kinds of sadhana, na? And this is Vedanta sadhana. Till the 5th verse we have seen, right? Yes. Now we have to start from the 6th verse. The very famous verse, oft repeated by the great masters. Samsara swapna tulyo hi raga dveshadi sankulaha swakhale satyavat bhati prabodhe sati asat bhave. Samsara swapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha swakhale satyavat bhati prabodhe sati asat bhave. This samsaraha, this relative existence here, this relative existence here is what? Nothing but ragadveshadi sankulaha. It is because of our attachment and aversion. See, if you think very quietly, samsara is nothing but our own likes and dislikes. We like certain things, we get attached to it, and we suffer. And we dislike certain things, and we develop some sort of aversion to it, and we want to avoid it. So this is how our life goes. Ragadvesha. So the samsara is nothing but ragadveshadi samkulaha means what? It is full of ragadvesha only, nothing else. Actually, we are slaves to our own minds, our own likes, and we are not free. We are slaves to our own minds. Ragadvesham only. So the spiritual practice is to rise above the Ragadvesha, not to give in to the Ragadvesha. What is the modern day freedom? Whatever I like to do, I should be allowed to do. See? Whatever I don't like, I will not do. Nobody should question me. See, Ragadvesham. But this Ragadvesham is samsara means what? It is the trouble, real trouble. And it is the cause for all of our suffering. So this Ragadvesha, Swapnatulyohi, this samsara is Swapnatulya. Swapnatulya means what? Like dream means what? When you go through the dream, dream is real. No doubt about that. All the happenings are very real and we get very worked up. Is it not so? But when you get up, you find everything is just nothing. So Swakale Satyavat Bhati. Swakale means what? When you are, that kala, when you are going through it. Swakale Satyavat Bhati. As if it is true, it appears. Everything is overwhelming. Is it not so? Somebody has hurt us. We are very taken aback and very angry. So all those emotions, the success, the failure, Swakale Satyavat Bhati, when you are going through, it is very true only. Prabodhe Sati, when you are awakened from the dream to the waking, all the dream things, experience are null and void, has no meaning. Similarly, when you are waken up to that higher state, even this becomes meaningless. Because Swapnavat, it is like a dream. So samsara is not real, it is like a dream only. See, what is the meaning of the Sukha Dukkha, success and failure, gone through by your great-grandfather now? We don't even know their name sometimes. Great-great-grandfather, we don't know their name even. And their life, faintly we must have heard from our father, grandfather. And what does it matter now? How does it matter now? And our lives after 50, 20, 30, 40 years has no meaning at all. Even now it has got no meaning much. But after 20, 30, 40 years, how does it matter? Nobody is going to even think about it. So actually speaking, now it is very real. The success, the failure, the honor, the dishonor, everything is very real, and we worked up and we fight, quarrel, fight. But in the long run, it has no meaning. So samsara is Swapnatulya only. Howsoever you look at it, it is Swapnatulya only. What is Swapna? Once when you are going through, it is real. Means you take it as very real. Only when you are awake, when you wake up, then all the dream experience are false. Somehow, when you wake up to the highest, that Paramatma, the self, the Mahatmas say, all these experiences also, it will appear as really false, having no meaning. So this is the truth. So when this is the truth, why to get worked up? Why to react so violently? Just take it as it comes. No, you have to be intelligent only. It's not that you have to be foolish. You have to play your role, you have to do your duties. In the office, if you are the boss, you have to take action, means you have to take action. That is all fine. But carrying the burden of the experiences and suffering because of that, all those things are not required. For a wise person, he lives life for every moment, and his life is a spontaneous living. So therefore, there is nothing to take seriously here. And as far as possible, we should not give room to the likes and dislikes. That is samsara actually. So we should try to rise above likes and dislikes. See, likes and dislikes are very natural to all the minds, all the jivas. Because of previous Janma experiences, whatever may be the reason, likes and dislikes are there in everybody's heart. There is no denying it. Likes and dislikes are there. But they create havoc in our lives. No peace, no joy when you are full of likes and dislikes. It has to be given up to enjoy life even. To be peaceful and enjoy life even, we have to give up the likes and dislikes. In modern day world, what is love? It is likes. Likes and dislikes only. Nothing else. I like you. Because these are the reason. If that reasons change, I dislike you. It is very flimsy. It is on a very shaky ground. That's why Acharya ji used to advise the newly married couple. You love each other not because of, in spite of. You should love each other not because of some reason. In spite of knowing each other, you should love each other. That is the tapasya for the married couple. After living together for some time, you know each other very thoroughly. The good and bad, everything. In spite of that, you should learn to love. That is true love. Not because it is in spite of. So, rising above the likes and dislikes, it's a real challenge. And this, setup, the family setup, that gives a platform to rise above the likes and dislikes. You have to adjust, you have to give in, sacrifice your likes and dislikes for your children, for your other people, other members of the family. That is good. But sometimes for the sannyasis, it is not so. Anane Raja, Nane Mandiri. Whatever I like, I will do. And everything I will say, from within, Bhagavan is prompting me. Who can question it? Who can challenge it? Arunachalan Solra, who can question? And in this Vesha also, if you say, people are scared. So therefore, likes and dislikes to rise above is very difficult. But that is a challenge that has to be done. Now, moving on. Tavat satyam jagat bhati shuktika rajatam yatha yavan najayate brahma sarvadishthana advayam. Tavat satyam jagat bhati shuktika rajatam yatha yavan najñāyate brahma sarvadishthānam advayam. As long as tavat satyam jagat bhati, the world appears to be real, the world of names and forms, as long as they appear to be very real, independent of themselves. Today morning we saw, they are not independent, they are nothing but the cause, that is the adhisthana. But when you think, no, the names and forms are by themselves and they are very real, as long as you feel this way, as long as you experience the world to be real, na jñāyate brahma, then you will not know the truth, which is sarva adhisthānam advayam, which is the substratum of all. Like what? Shuktika rajatam yata. Like as long as you see the silver in the mother of pearl. See, when you are walking on the shore, seashore, sometimes you may find a silver-like thing. Hey, silver. And you go and you pick it up. Then you find it is nothing but just a pearl. Pearl, chippy. Pearl. Initially you thought it is shining like a silver. The appearance of silver is only a sort of a superimposition on the pearl. It's not true. Like the superimposition of snake on the rope. Another example given. So as long as you are seeing that silver, you will not see the pearl, real pearl. So as long as you are seeing only the world of names and forms, because of the ego, you will never ever know the Brahman, the substratum of all. Sarva adhisthānam advayam, one without the second. So Only when you realize that it is just a pearl, not the silver, when you know it, when you examine it closely, when you discover that to be only the pearl, not the silver, then only you know the truth. Similarly, yes, you are seeing the world, and the samsara is nothing but likes and dislikes. But going beyond likes and dislikes, investigating into the samsara, into the mind, and finding out the truth, only when you realize that this world of appearance are false, then you can abide and you realize that Brahman. See, Jagad Drishti Ninginale Odiya Atma Darshanam Undahadu. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says in Who Am I, that small book Nanyar, he says Jagad Drishti Ninginale Odiya Atma Darshanam Undahadu. Only when the Jagad Drishti, when it is removed or when it goes away, then you will have the Atma Darshanam. Only when the superimposed snake vision goes, you get the rope vision. Or when you see the rope, there is no scope for seeing the snake anymore. Other way also. See? Other way also. When you realize, when you find out the Brahma Tattvam, then you cannot see an independent world, real, so to speak. So you can say both the word. Yavanna jnayate Brahma, tavat satyam jagat bhati. As long as you don't know the Brahman, till long the world will be there only. Or other way also true. As long as the world is shining as real, you will not have the true experience of the Brahma Tattva. Both the ways you can take it actually. So, Sarva Adhisthana Advayam, and this is the Adhisthana. This is the substratum of all. What is that? Brahma Tattvam is the substratum of all. So the Jagat appears to be true, Satyam, so long as Brahman, the substratum, the base of all its creation, is not realized. It is like the illusion of silver in the mother of pearl. Yeah, moving on. Upadane kiladhare Jaganti Parameshware Sargasthiti Layan Yanti Budbudhani Vavarini Upadane Kiladhare Jaganti Parameshware Sargasthiti Layan Yanti Budbudhani Vavarini Upadane Akila Adhare Parameshware. இப்படிதான் படிக்கணும். Upadane Akiladhare Parameshware Jaganti Sargaha Stitilaya Yanti. Parameshware, in that supreme. Parameshware means in that supreme, in that Brahma Tattvam, Atma Tattvam, or Ishwar Tattvam. Parameshware, and that is the Upadhane, the material cause of everything. Because from that only everything has come, na? Like mud is the material cause of the mud pots. So Upadhane means material cause. And Akhila Adhare, and that Parameshwara is the substratum of all. So in that Parameshware, in that substratum, what happens? Jaganti. Jaganti means the world of names and forms. Sargaha, Stitihi, Layan Yanti. They rise and they stay for some time and they goes back. They go back. It goes back. They go back. So that is the substratum. there the names and forms appear and then stay for some time and go back. Like what? Budbudhani vavarini, like the bubbles that comes out of the water, and they stay for some time and they go back. Bubbles come out by itself. Is that not so? So it is not as we think. The world is there and we are seeing it. I am there, in me the world rises when I am awake or when I am dreaming, and goes back when I go to sleep. Then again it comes back, again it goes back. So the Adharam is what? The self, which is always present. In the self, the world appears, stays for some time, and then goes back. See, we have been thinking that we have come into the world, live for some time, and we are going to go back. This is what we are thinking. Is that not so? The world is continuing. See, our idea is the world is just continuing. The world is, because we think the world is somewhere there as a globe urunda mari irukku oru edathila ukandirukku. See, what a thing. We think the world is somewhere there as a globe, like, and we are born in particular date. I am born in such and such date, my birthday, and we live for some time, and then we feel we die away, but the world continues. My grandfather, he had gone, still the world is continuing. I am going to go, the world will continue. This is what our idea. What Vedanta says? No, when you get up, when you wake up, the world rises in you. As long as the ego persists, the world stays. When it goes back to sleep, then the world goes back. What a change of vision, see? And this world is not other than you, apart from you. Like the mud pot is not apart from the mud. Like the waves are not apart from the ocean, waters. And like the budbudhani, the bubbles are not other than the water. The bubbles, they rise in the ocean. They stay for some time and they go back. They are nothing but the water. Similarly, the world rises in me, stays for some time, goes back. And I am the Adhara. My God, what a transformation. What a change of vision. Are you able to appreciate this? The change of vision? But can you go and talk this to the world? They think you are mad. What are you talking? Nonsense you are talking. How can it be true? World is continuing even if you are sleeping. What are you talking? Only when you are sleeping there is no world. How do you say? World is continuing. This much also you don't know or what? When you close your eyes, everything will be dark or what? Everything is happening. Hare Rama, wake up. Are you on some drugs or what? When this Mahatma goes to sleep, everything goes on. What is this nonsense? World is going on. That is how people argue. Then how will you argue back? What will you say? Mahatma ji, the world is continuing. How do you know? Only when you wake up, it is the information passed on to you by the waking mind. Not your dreams, not your deep sleep experience. If you analyze your deep sleep, it is not your experience. Waking mind is projecting when you wake up that there was the world going on when this person is sleeping. It is all part of the waking mind, not the deep sleep experience. Swami, எப்படி Swami நீங்க இப்படியெல்லாம் திங்க் பண்றீங்க? ரொம்ப அப்நார்மலா இருக்கு. நான் திங்க் பண்ணல. Our acharyas have told us, and we have contemplated on it, and we have found it to be very true, very logical and reasonable. So this is the argument. When I sleep, the world is going on. Is it deep sleep experience or waking experience? It's not the deep sleep experience. Deep sleep experiences I don't know. That is honestly speaking. When I wake up, then in that mind, waking mind, I am there and other jivas are there. One of the jiva from the waking mind comes and tells this jiva that even when you were asleep, the world was going on. So it is the experience of the waking mind. So the waking mind is projecting the whole world with so much of cause and effect. It can project also. Somebody to come and tell you that it was going on. It can project. Why not? So it is not your deep sleep experience. It is a waking experience. Waking experience, so many things are there. Cause and effect. Absolute cause and effect is there. In waking world, so many people tell you so many things. But they are all part of the waking experience. The experiencer and experienced. This is false. When will you realize this? When you are awakened to that absolute. Like the dream is false when you awaken to the waking state. This person telling you and you are listening, nodding your head and worried or wondering over, all part of the waking experience. And this will be proved null and void when you are awakened to the higher state. Then you know that all this is not. ஏதோ நீங்கள் சொல்கிறீங்க நாங்கள் கேட்டுக்கிறோம், ஆனால் எங்களுக்கு இன்னும் ஒன்றும் புரியலப்பா, இது என்னமோ மாதிரி இருக்கு, என்னமோ மாதிரி இருக்கு. See, that is why to tell you that the word is rising in me, the Adhisthana, the Brahman, and then it is going back. And that Brahman is Atma Tattvam only, na? Very hard to digest. Like the bubble coming in the water. So, Akila Adhare Parameshware, which is substratum of everything, that Brahma Tattvam, the world is rising and going back. See, you know what? You can imagine other way also. If you want, you can imagine. It's imagination only. It's not truth. There is some Brahma Tattvam. Like the world you have imagined to be something else apart from yourself. See, apart from yourself, you imagine the world, globe, universe is there, lot of planets are going, and the world and the earth is there. I am staying there. Like that, you imagine, na? Like that, if you want, you can imagine also. There is a Brahma Tattvam, Bayangara Perusa irukku. Globe mela perusa. What we know as universe is contained in that Brahma Tattvam. Avlo periya Brahma Tattvam irukku. Adukulla ellam irukku. அதுக்குள்ளே எல்லாம் வருது போகுதுன்னு அப்படி நீங்கள் இமேஜின் பண்ணிங்கன்னா இமேஜின் பண்ணிக்கலாம். பட் வாட் யூ ஆர் ட்ரைங் டு டூ, யூ ஆர் கீப்பிங் த பிரம்ம தத்துவம் as somebody else, something else, apart from the Atma, the self. So the idea is what? Without the Atma, the self, expressing through the buddhi and illumining everything, nothing is known. So whatever Brahma Tattvam you may talk about is also means your thought in your mind only. Only when the Brahma Tattvam is experienced as the Atma Swarupam, it is Brahma, it has some valid sort of meaning. Otherwise, it is all just a concept in your mind only. You get my point? I don't know whether you get my point or not. As you are keeping a world, something independent of yourself, you are keeping something Brahman, even bigger than the world. And in that bigger Brahman, something is rising and falling. I am to Baba not involved in this equation, in this tamasha. I am somebody. But Brahman is happening. Brahman is an object, like you see as an object. And the world, an object is rising and falling. And then the scientists will disprove it. What is Brahman? Just you are imagining something nonsense, and something is rising and falling. All this is nonsense. That is not. See, that is not the idea. As long as you keep the Brahman or whatever as apart from you, other than you, it is just part of figment of your imagination only. Nothing is true. Everything has to come back to the source. Atmatvena you have to realize. Because there only you can realize absolute. When you drop all the faulty equipments, then only you can realize the absolute. Not otherwise. Please don't have any sort of misconception. You can only know the self. Full stop. Nothing else. Everything else is known through the equipment which is faulty, and therefore it is incomplete, and therefore it is just nothing, half truth or no truth. Think about it. The churning should happen. Oh, what is this? I don't understand. And all this is rubbish. I don't want to hear this anymore. I want to run away. I want my own serial or series. OTT series. Oh, this is all no, I can't take it anymore. ஒரு நல்ல சினிமா படம் பார்த்தே அவ்வளோ நல்லா இருக்கும். அதை விட்டுட்டு இங்கே வந்து ஏதோ சொல்லி you confuse yourself. See, you have this churning should happen. Then only something is happening. No, nothing wrong if you oppose it, if you don't agree with it, if you argue against it. Then you are working on it. If you don't do any of these things, simply you listen and accept it. Swami சொன்னா சரியா தானே இருக்கும். ஆதி சங்கரே சொல்லிட்டாரு சரியா தானே இருக்கும். Okay. Then it makes no difference in you. You have to work on it. Apply your mind and say, no, this is all rubbish. I can't accept this. This is contrary to my experience. How can it be? You should argue. Then you are a good student. You understand what I'm saying? You should not leave the teacher. You should hold on to him by his dadi. This teacher has got no dadi. By his collar. He has no collar. Only collar mic. Hold on to him by his dhoti. What is this? What are you talking? நாங்கள் பாவமாக இருந்தால் எதுதானே பேசிடுறதா? So you cannot say this. So this is what you have to argue and try to understand. The churning should happen. Okay. Satchidatmanyanusyute मन्यनुस्यूते नित्ये विष्णु प्रकल्पिताः व्यक्तयो विविधा सर्वाः हाटके कटकादिवत् सच्चिदात्मन्यनुस्यूते नित्ये विष्णु प्रकल्पिताः व्यक्तयो विविधा सर्वाः हाटके कटकादिवत् सच्चिद आत्मनि, the Atma which is Satchit, pure existence and pure consciousness. Satchid Atmani, in this Atma the self, Anusyute, all pervading, Nitye, ever present, eternal, Vishnu. Suddenly again the Vishnu vandar, Didin Keta. Vishnu means one who has got long stride, meaning all encompassing, all pervading. That's what it's meant by Vishnu here. So in this Atma the self, which is all pervading and eternal, prakalpitaha, imagined. What is imagined? Vyaktayaha vividha sarvaha, whatever is manifested here, vividha sarvaha, as different objects, for names and forms. Vividaha, nana vidamana. Sarvaha, all is imagined. Prakalpitaha, like how Hatake Katakadivat. Hatake means in the gold, how different ornaments like bracelet, necklace, everything is imagined. என்ன சாமி சொல்ல வரீங்க? நெக்லஸ் இல்லையா அப்போ? கோல்டு தான் இருக்கு. Do you mean there is no necklace? Gold only is. No. Necklaces are there, necklaces are there, bracelets are there, bangles are there. Only gold is. Okay, I will take out the gold. You have your necklace. So necklace is only a sort of a thing in our mind. But what is actually there is gold. Is that not so? Today morning only we have seen about the mud pot. So I say there is only mud. You say mud pots are there, different mud pots with different form and all. Okay, I will remove my mud and I will go. You take your pot and enjoy. When you remove mud, there is no pot. So what is a pot then? It is just in the mind. See, in the Vyavaharic sense, yes, it has got a utility and different shape. Adallam sari. But from the philosophical standpoint, absolute standpoint, what is? The question is, what is actually? என்னதான் இருக்கு சத்தியமா என்னதான் இருக்கு? மண்ணு தான் இருக்கு. எனக்கு புரியலையே, ஏன்னா தலைக்குள்ளேயும் மண்ணு தான் இருக்கு. அதான் புரியல. In your head also there is only mud. Madeva satyam. So how beautiful. So in the Atmani, Satchidatmani, in that Satchidananda Swarupam, which is eternal and which is all pervading, Vishnu Padam, all pervading, Kalpitaha, Prakalpitaha, everything else is imagined. Vivida Sarvaha, all that is manifested, available to the sense organs and mind, everything is just imagined, like different ornaments are imagined in the gold. From the standpoint of the gold, yes, everything is gold. From the standpoint of the ornament, ornament cannot exist other than the gold. Therefore, if you think ornaments are something independently existing other than the gold, then it is your imagination only. So the gold is the ornament. If you think it is there separate other than, then it is your imagination. So this is again and again brought forward. See, I told you yesterday, this is a journey from I am aware of such and such a thing to I am awareness, meaning just awareness. So when you reach that state of awareness, then you yourself will find there is nothing. But till then there is struggle. Right? So what is said now? It is said, all these things are just part of your imagination, give up. And what is the truth? So be there, be that, just be. Even if you don't understand, if you follow it and try to be, then you are really benefited. Because when you abide there, you need nobody's, certificate or nobody's confirmation. You yourself will see the Brahman alone is. So if you don't even understand, have faith, but you will just reach that which is glorious. But for an intelligent person, all these arguments, logics, everything will be helpful to come to a point. That is why while defining the qualification of a student, he said, no, that intelligent which can really understand the logics and arguments of scriptures, argue for the scriptures against all the other arguments, uha poha vilakshanaha. You have seen, na? Uha poha vilakshanaha. The quality of a student, that kind of intelligence. So that is required to understand this. Uha poha vilakshanaha. Without that intelligence, if we sit, Tiruvannamalai காணா போன குழந்தை மாதிரி உட்காந்துருப்போம். What is this talking? So we will read the next verse also and see it tomorrow. Yatha kasho hrishikeshaha nanopadigato vibhuhu tat vedhat bhinnavat bhati tannashe kevalo bhave. Here another example, this is still difficult. Adi very difficult and still this difficult. Yatha akashaha, like the space. Akash, space. Nana upadigato vibhuhu. Nana upadigataha means what? The space which is conditioned by these walls, let us say, of this hall. So what this space is called as hall space. And let us say there is a pot outside. The space conditioned by the walls of a small pot is called as pot space. So nana upadigataha, meaning the space as if when it is conditioned by different upadis, by the walls of the hall, by the walls of the pot, etc. Let us say, tad bhedat binnavad bhati. So what happens, as if it appears to be in the hall it is a big space, in the pot it is a small space, but universe, oh, infinite space. But tannashe kevalo bhavet. Suppose if you bring down the four walls of this hall, then what happens? The space no more is a hall space and the universal space, as if the hall space is merged into the universal space. Is that not so? If you bring down the pot, the walls of the pot, break the pot, then the pot space is merged with the universal space. Is that not so? But this is also not true. Because space is so subtle, it cannot be conditioned by any of these walls. The hall is in space, but space is not conditioned. Nothing has happened to the space. Space is so subtle, these gross walls cannot condition it or break it. These gross walls cannot break the space. There is space only. But hall has been built there. The pot has been kept there. Now also there is no hall space, pot space, universal space. There is only space. Because the grosser walls cannot divide or cannot break, cannot condition the subtler space. Therefore nothing has happened to the space. Space is still the universal space, one space only. But there is a sort of a or Brahma delusion that hall space is spacious. Oh, your satsang hall is spacious. But back in that ashram, only 20 people can sit. That small space, big space, universal space. You talk for Vyavahara sake. Yeah, accommodation wise you are right. But what the walls cannot condition the space. So the space has not become hall space or pot space. Space remains as a space. If you don't understand this, there is only space in between your ears. Similarly, Atma, the self is. And Nana Upadi, the conditioning, that conditioning cannot do anything to the Paramatma. So he has not broken up and become a Jivatma. He has never become a Jivatma. But he appears to have become a Jivatma. And because of different conditioning, appears as if different Jivatmas. Because of the infinite conditioning, as if he is a Parameshwara. But the Atma, the real self, can never be conditioned into small upadis or small vyaktis, small individual jivas. So the idea that when the wall is pulled back, this hall space goes and merges with the total space and all is chuma imagination, a figment of imagination once again. What is Advaita philosophy? The space can never be conditioned by any of these walls. Therefore, nothing has happened to the space. This is Advaita philosophy. Atma, the self, cannot be conditioned by all these upadis. It has not become anything. But we are seeing it is becoming. That is your imagination. I am seeing the hall space. It's only your imagination. You only say hall space, pot space and all. There is only space. You look at the walls and you say hall space. You look at the wall of the pot and say pot space. But there is only space, which has not become the hall space, which has not become the pot space. So therefore there is no idea of universal space also. there is space. Universal space comes only when your idea is about the small spaces. Then you say big space is there. If there is no idea of the small spaces, then you don't need to say universal space. There is space. In the space, the hall is built. The pot is kept. Nothing happened to the space. If you put, let us say, ditch water, ayo, that stinks. The space is not conditioned by the stink. Maybe the atmosphere or the air there may be conditioned by the stink, not the space. Similarly, Atma is not conditioned by any of these upadhis. So it has not become Jiva. So when you pull down these upadhis, body, mind, it is not the Jivatma goes and merges in Paramatma. Adallam kada. So just in imagination. For small children we say, na, adamadridam. Ange yana mutram peyudu, mele ummachi, avada yana mutram peyudu, adam mala peyudu. And people are so happy, you know, when you realize the self, this Jiva, the light, Jodi, it goes and merges in the Parama Jodi, Hellan Jodiites. Very nice, you know, all those. So it's very popular. That's why Vaidic religion is very popular. It's easy to understand. No need to break your head. There is you are seeing the individual self, yes, individual self is there. You are seeing the total, yes, total is there. It can merge because it has come back from there to go and merge. Very simple. Fine. இப்படி சொல்லுங்க ஈஸியாக இருக்கு. அது என்னமோ ஸ்பேஸ் இருக்கா இல்லை எதுவுமே ஆகலை ஒன்றுமே ஆகலைன்னா. But that is the truth. Atma cannot be conditioned by any of these upadhis. Therefore, it has never become a jiva. It has never become the world. Nothing has happened to it. Whatever you see is your own imagination, as if it has happened. Meaning it's your imagination. The ghost has never come out of the post. You are seeing the ghost because it is your imagination. You cannot say, now the ghost has gone back into the post. The ghost has come out of the post only. But when inquired properly, it has gone back into the post. Is it so? If you say that, is it right?
No.
You are trying to sort of camouflage your own ignorance. You know, நான் அவ்வளோ மோசம் இல்லை, நான் ஒன்றும் இமேஜின் பண்ணல, அது வந்துச்சு எனக்கு பார்த்தேன். பட் இப்போ நீங்கள் ஏதோ பெரிய மனுஷன் உள்ளே போயிடுச்சு. So it has gone back. No, you have seen it because you were so scared. So you projected or you imagined a ghost there, and when you understood, your imagination has gone. That's all happened. The post remains the same. But without the post, even the imagination of the ghost cannot happen. Shumma verum vetta veliyila you cannot. Then there is something wrong with your mind. Hallucination is vera samacharam. We have to discuss it separately. Only when there is a post you can misunderstand to be a ghost. You understand? Therefore, nothing has happened to the self. It has not been conditioned by any of these upadhis. It is ever the same. But everything is as if happening. It is all imagination of the mind. When the thoughts subside, when the mind subsides, then the truth is perceived as it is. Otherwise, always it is seen with the superimposition only. And we take the superimposition to be real and we fail to see the substratum. Therefore, that is samsara. We go and come and we suffer here. Transmigration. Om Purnamadha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudhachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om